Drop2 voicings are great to have in your vocabulary, both for comping, chord solos and chord melody. In this video I'm going to show you how you can take some Drop2 voicings and then work on them, practice them and get them into your vocabulary and really play music with them. So we're going to go a little bit further than just studying a bunch of inversions, which is where I see most students kind of get stuck with Drop2 voicings. So I'm going to start with a basic 2-5-1 progression, and then I'm first going to show you how to add some different colors and different types of colors to those chords, and then also how to make that into really a melodic comping and something you can really use when you're comping in a musical context. My name is Larsen, learn jazz, make music. In this video we're going to focus on this really basic 2-5-1 in F major. Usually when you're learning Drop2 voicings, then the focus is on learning all the inversions. And of course, if we take the basic 2-5-1 here and then go over all those inversions, because it is important to check out, then you would have 3 sets of 4 inversions on the top strings. That would be this exercise. And that is of course important to learn, but I think when it comes to actually using these voicings for music, then it's more important to take a real progression and then look at what can I do with this voicing, how can I change it, how can I turn it into something that I can play some good music with. And that's what I want to focus on in this video. An important thing to keep in mind with all the different variations of the voicings that I'm going to cover in this video is that you kind of want to think of them as variations. So you want to think about the basic G-7 voicings, for example, and then you want to just have all the other variations in there as possible things that you can play, but it's still just G-7. It's still the basic same thing. Because if you start labeling them and giving them different names and thinking about them as different things, then you have to do a lot of thinking when you're using them. Then you have to think about, oh, this is a G-7 with a 9 and an 11, and not just this is G-7. And you kind of want to tie all that information together, because that makes it easier once you start to make music with it and improvise while you're comping with these voicings. The first thing you want to check out is actually a great rule for adding extensions to voicings, and that is you can replace the root of a voicing with the 9th. In this example, what I'm doing is that I'm finding the root of each of the voicings. So for the G-7, that's this note, the G, and then I'm replacing that with the 9th, so that's the A. The 9th of G is an A, so I get this voicing. For the C7, the root is here, C, and then the 9th is a D. For the F major 7, this is the F, and here's the 9th. So in that way I'm creating some new voicings, I'm creating some other sounds, and it makes, of course, also sense to really recognize that this is a B flat major 7, this is an E half diminished, and this is an A-7 voicing. So in that way I'm also kind of tying it together with some other voicings, but I'm still just thinking G-7, C7 to F major 7. I could use this rule on all the chords, but you can't always add all types of extensions to all chords in a progression, because it may not really work with that chord. So in the next example, I'm going to use 2 different rules that are kind of about how you can replace the 5th, and that is that the 5th can be replaced by the 11th, and also the 5th can be replaced by the 13th. So for the -7 chord, I'm using the 11th instead of the 5th, and for the dominant and for the major 7 chord, then I'm adding the 13th instead of the 5th. So starting with the voicing from the previous example, then I have this for the G-7, and then the D, the 5th is here, and then I'm playing the C instead because that's the 11th, so I have this. For the dominant 7, I have this from the last example, and then the 5th is the G here, and I'm playing the 13th instead, so that's this one. And for the F major 7, I had this voicing, and then the 5th is the C, and I'm playing the D, the 13th instead, so that's this one. And of course, sometimes when you're talking about major 7 chords, then as soon as we have a D in there, then we think of it as a 6, but in this case we already have the major 7 in there as well, and that's why I'm calling it a 13th. Another way we can make variations on the chords is that for the dominant 7th chord, then we can choose to use altered extensions or alterations instead of the normal extensions. There are basically 4 that we can sort of use for that. We have a flat 9 and a sharp 9, and then we have a flat 5 and a flat 13. If we start using that instead of the extensions that I had in the previous examples, then we get something like this. In this example, I'm playing the G minor 7 with a 9 like this. Then on the C7 altered, I'm playing this voicing. So instead of having the 5th in the voicing, I have a flat 13, so that's an A flat. And I have a sharp 9, that's an E flat up here. And then I'm resolving that to this F major 7. Here I'm playing a G minor 7 with an 11 and a 9. Then I'm going to this C7, which is with a flat 5, and so the G is replaced by a G flat, and a flat 9, which is this D flat that's replacing the root. And then I'm resolving that to this F major 7, where I've replaced the 5th with a sharp 11, which is a B here. Now we have a lot of different variations of the basic chords that I started with, and we can use those to create some melodic statements, because if you want to tie together chords and not just have sort of this chord here and this chord there when you're accompanying, one of the easiest ways to get away from that is to think in top note melody. So you want to make a simple melody in the highest voice in the chords. An example of that could sound something like this. Here I'm just starting with the basic G minor 7 voicing that I had back in example 1. And then I'm changing the top note, so I'm going from the 5th to the 11th. And then I'm going to a C7 altered with a flat 9, flat 13. So the top note melody here is a flat 9, repeating that. And then I'm resolving down to a basic F major 7. Another way to create melodic movement is to not play the entire voicing at once. So you're leaving out some notes. That's what I'm doing in this next example to create an ascending melody on the G minor chord. So I'm starting with this voicing, but I'm only playing the lower 3 strings in the beginning. So we have this A melody moving up to the C, and then we have the whole voicing. Then I move up to a C7 altered with a sharp 9 down to the flat 9. And then F major 7 up to the 13, and then down to the 5th again. Another very useful thing to check out is what melodies you can make by just using the different voices within the chord. And I think the easiest way to do this is just to look at the 2 top voices. And that's what I'm doing in this example, where I'm using 2 melody notes. One is the highest note, and the other one is the second highest. This one. That sounds like this. So first I'm playing the complete voicing for the G minor chord. That's this one with a 9 and 11. And then I'm going from this melody note, so the high C here, down to the A, and repeating that idea on a C7 flat 13. So I'm kind of using the C as a pedal point in this melody. And then on the F major 7, I'm starting with the sharp 11, and then playing up to the 13th, and then resolving that down to the 5th. As you can tell, I think it's really important to just take a chord progression and also work on really what can I do with this, how can I play this in a musical way, think about how the different chords work together, because that's how you need to use them. And if you want to check out some more ideas on how you can create different top note melodies and add different colors to the chords, then check out this video where I'm going over 15 different examples of rootless chord voicings for a 2-5-1.